One of the things I love to do is go to the store and then wander around with my camera and take pictures of things that I think look really cool. And in this video, I'm going to be taking a look at IKEA, which is a store that sells a lot of furniture that you can assemble yourself, but they also have these awesome $1 hot dogs and $1 ice cream cones. I'm going to weigh 400 pounds if I keep going back here. So in this video, I'm going to be in the IKEA. So join me on a virtual tour as we look at some artwork. Okay, so I don't want, as we jump in here and we take a look at some of this artwork, I don't want you to think that I'm just suggesting that we just copy the artwork that we see. I'm not suggesting that at all. But what I am suggesting is that when you see a picture like this, it's the Eiffel Tower, for example, and it's in a major store like an IKEA, that there's an idea that it's popular enough with the general public that there's a niche there that is a really large niche, and you could take a look at different ways of exploiting that niche. So if you live in a city near a Eiffel Tower or a World Trade Center or any sort of world landmark, you definitely would want to take some arty pictures of it and use that in your print-on-demand journey. And it doesn't need to be on the same scale as an Eiffel Tower. It could be a local, Seattle Space Needle. It could be the CN Tower if you're in Toronto. There's all sorts of local, really cool pictures that you could take photographs of. Here's some other stuff. These are the inner workings of Paris, different cathedrals, Eiffel Tower. You could have themes of pictures as well. So if you're selling on sites like Redbubble or TeePublic, you could have themes, and especially on Etsy, it's a big one on Etsy where you'd have a 3-picture set or a 6-picture set that you could sell, and they're really just beautiful black and white photographs. This is another popular idea, and it's just basically floral patterns. So the idea here is that you would have floral designs that you could desaturate down into black and white. You could have them neon. You could invert them. There's all sorts of great pictures that you could take from basically public domain designs, public domain patterns, or you could even create your own patterns basically with stencils. This is an example of one where you could have a stencil design that then you could add some color to. So this is like a black and white picture with one extra color on there, or black, white, gray, and then red, black, white, gray, and then blue. So you could try that. The color palettes themselves could be the reason that the pictures work too. This is really interesting to me. These are in the IKEA store and they're very minimalistic. So when I see like a hand-drawn horse like that, part of me is always surprised that somebody would go out and buy it. But there is a market for these items, and that's why I like going to these stores. So if you see something like this, you may want to try drawing one yourself. Maybe you can draw line items in Inkscape, or you could literally hand draw them using pastels, pencil crayons, a magic marker, and you could see if you can have a unique and quirky way of having artwork. One of the things about minimalized artwork or minimalistic artwork is it's not super over the top and super pronounced. Here's another one that's really nice. These are black and white or desaturated. There's some gray in there as well, and it's basically jellyfish. So you could take a basic picture and using some Photoshop or Affinity Photo skills, you could make these very nice backgrounds. This is just a basic black background, and this is like a vintage paper background. This one I found really interesting. This is actually not a picture for sale. A couple came up next to me and they weren't talking to me, but they just mentioned how they really enjoyed these pictures and where were they available for sale. So they went and asked the IKEA person, and the person working at the store said, well, they're just cloth that we put into the frames. It's the frames that we're selling. These aren't actually pictures. And that got me thinking. It's like, could you make pictures that are just basically patterns and they're abstract? I think these look great. Here's another one. This is just a picture of a wharf and it's a lake. Now it's beautiful, but it's certainly not the Eiffel Tower. It's not the World Trade Center. So even if you live in little rinky-dinky town where you go, well, I'm never going to get to the Louvre and I'm never going to get to the Eiffel Tower. Well, that's okay. Go for a walk in your neighborhood and see if you could find artistic photographs like this. Nowadays, cameras are so high resolution that you could take beautiful pictures like this, and then with a little tiny bit of Photoshop tweaking or Affinity Photo tweaking, you could make them look sepia, you could desaturate them, you could have all sorts of tints. This is another one here that I saw, which is really neat, and this is pop art. You've got basically a basic photo, like a bicycle, or a person, shoes, a saying, but then they've stenciled it or they've watercolored it. or they've tie-dyed it. They've done something to it to make it look crafty. And this is a very popular genre where people can take a basic picture and then make it look original in some way with shapes, with colors. It's very neat. I really like this style of artwork as well. These are basic nature photos. And then the reason I think these work is because they're subtle and yet they're beautiful. So here, for example, the birds, you've got black birds on a ever increasing gray background. I almost bought this picture. And the reason I didn't, if you look closely at this photo, I actually went on to the website and looked at reviews, and I was just about ready to buy it, but there's two things I don't like about this picture. One is there's words down in the very bottom right of the picture, and it says like, licensed to such and such corporation, and it was a real turnoff for me because I wanted to put this right in my living room. And the other one, which I didn't notice at the time, is this completely full garbage bin, which is sitting right there. And as soon as I saw it in the online reviews, I couldn't unsee it. And so to me, it just destroyed the magic of this picture. I'd actually been to Amsterdam and I've stood on these canals and it's amazing and I really wanted a picture of it. So what I'm gonna go do is go through my photos and see if I can find a better picture, desaturate it, and then resaturate or colorize the one item in the middle, which is the red bicycle. Everything else is black and white, red bicycle. I'll see if I can find something similar in my own photos. This is another idea that you could do. You could go on to online resources like NASA. They've got online photo albums, Flickr albums, and you could take a picture of the Earth or a picture of the moon and you could throw different phases in. Or you could have a picture of the Earth and you could have like half of an Earth on one side, half of an Earth on the other side. So I hope you guys found this helpful. There's just some really cool ideas, and please do remember to hit that like button if you got some value out of this. And as always, I really do welcome your feedback. If you have a question or a comment, throw it down below and I'll do my best to help out. And here's another video on trends that you will find helpful in your print-on-demand journey. Thanks a lot for watching.